Hello, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Last day of ACC. I know there's been like 250 side events, so I'm sure it's been an overwhelming week for some of you, as it has been for me. But welcome to my workshop. Going to be speaking for a few minutes, and then we'll have time for Q&A. But thank you for showing up. So I'm Samantha. I'm the founder of Yap Global. You may have checked out our booth around the corner. We are the PR partners of ACC. This is the 4th time in a year we're being PR partners, so it's really great to be here. We started doing PR for ACC back at ACC 3, and I remember there was just 900 attendees, and that was huge back then. And now I hear that there's 5,000 people that show up, and so it's amazing to see the growth, and shout out to Bettina and Jerome for growing this. So today I want to be talking to you about how to elevate your Web3 PR game. So I'm sure some of you are project founders or work with teams. How many of you want to learn more about PR and boost your PR game? Yeah, cool, good. I hope that today you'll walk away with a few pointers and tips, because there's a lot you can do without engaging a PR firm yet, and then you'll know when you're ready to start speaking with us, perhaps. So a little bit about Yap Global. It's our team offsite. We just had an offsite just before this conference, and so we're a crypto PR agency. We support Web3, crypto, and DeFi projects. And we like to say that we're quite crypto native in a sense where we follow the industry. But who we really are is we're crypto translators, because, there's a lot of technical jargon. You're hearing a lot of layer 1s, layer 2s, scalable solutions, roll-ups, ZK EVMs, for example, and all of these are technical terms, but what we do is we help translate that to the media, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this space in order for everyone to understand it. We're also PR strategists, so we're always thinking about the narrative, thinking about shaping the right angle to make sure that it's getting ahead of the news, and also makes sense when building your narrative. And we love storytelling. Storytelling is a big part of what we do. My background's in journalism, so storytelling has been a big part of just my career. And so, we're a team of storytellers. And as I said, we like to keep up, so we're crypto savvy. And we're here at a conference, the largest Ethereum community conference in Europe, and it's a big part and a core part of what we do. So that's who we are. So I just want to do a recap. So I know the title of my talk was The New PR Rules for Web3. I'm actually not going to delve too deep into this, but I want to do a recap because I shared this at ETH Denver earlier this year. But just 5 rules, simple rules. Well, rule number 1, in Web3, there's another element. There's a decentralized element where community is a big part of building your brand. Back when Facebook or Google started, they didn't have a Discord channel or a token where they had to communicate to their community. But now a lot of these exchanges and projects and protocols, they need to build their community. And as you can see, 250 side events at ECC Week, you're starting to see all these layer 1s and layer 2s grow their own ecosystem, and that's the community building aspect. So rule number 1 is you have to know the difference between marketing, PR, and community building. Rule number 2 is to keep up with crypto Twitter. Crypto Twitter is a big part of what narratives, show up in the news, and a lot of stories break out on crypto Twitter. I like to say that it's the Bloomberg chat room of the industry. Rule number 3 is you have to understand the media landscape, and the media landscape in crypto is, it's quite niche, and it's different to kind of the global media landscape. Rule number 4 is you've got to know your audience and tailor your message to them, whether it's geographic, whether you're communicating to the US, the Asia Pacific region, Europe, or to developers and investors. all requires a different set of messages. And rule number 5 is to avoid technical jargon. So those are the new PR rules for Web3. You can take a picture of this. And that was just a recap of my talk. But today, I want to talk to you about the 5 Web3 PR myths. So we're going to do a little bit of myth busting, just like the Ghostbusters. And so I'm going to go through 5 myths. Myth number 1. A lot of teams say we don't need a comms plan yet. So when we pitch them, when we talk to potential clients, they're like, yeah, I don't think we need, a comms plan. But actually, if you want to proactively get ahead of the narrative and proactively communicate your message and also cut through the noise, again, the growing industry, having a comms plan is really important. So here's just an example. We're coming up to the end of July, but what are you going to do in August if you have an announcement or you're launching on mainnet? Do you have a plan? Do you know who you're talking to? And we see this often in the industry that, we only get reached out when people have an announcement that needs to go out like this week or next week, and that's not enough time. You need to get your messaging in order before you announce anything. And also, there's so many projects. Everyone else is probably trying to announce a similar thing. This week alone at ECC, there's been multiple announcements. So how do you make sure you get in front of the right reporters, the right journalists, and share with them what you're doing? And if you want to add a layer of complexity to that, crypto is really complicated and complex, and we have to be fair to the journalists and media and give them a little bit of time to digest what you're really building and why your tech is the best. So you do need a comms plan. So that's myth number 1. Myth number 2, the tech will speak for itself. Who's said this before? And who's heard this before? We hear it a lot. Of course, there's a race for tech, but hey, guess what? There's also a race for attention. And there's only so few publications. There's only one CoinDesk. There's only one Cointelegraph. I see Z there. Hello, Z. There's only one, The Block. So if you're trying to get attention, it's actually quite filtered. But yes, okay, the tech is really important. It's if you don't actually have the tech, then that's also going to be challenging. However, you also do need to, have a PR and marketing plan to raise awareness about what you're doing. Because what good is building something that's super good tech, but no one knows about it? So just want to give a shout out to one of our clients, Neil Foundation. They're one of the sponsors at ECC. We started working with them late last year, and they've been recognized as one of the projects to watch already at the start of the year by CoinDesk, and we also had to, help them put explainers out there because, again, there's so much jargon, there's so many complex tech innovations coming out of this industry that we do still need to educate people about what you're building. So, myth number 2, tech will speak for itself. No, it won't. You still need to talk about it, and you still need a PR plan. Myth number 3, paid content and event sponsorship equals attention. Now, here's just two, two stories or examples of one is a front page story that's editorially written, and one is an ad that Coinbase, put in the Wall Street Journal. Which one would you trust more? Who would say front page ad? Really? No one would trust the front page. Sorry, who would say the front page story? And who would say an ad that Coinbase paid for that says, trust us? Why wouldn't you trust that? It says trust us. But, advertising, there's definitely a space for ads, but an earned media spot and a front page story or an editorially written story still goes a long way. I think it was, Richard Branson had a quote where he says, a front page ad is just far more credible than a front page story is far more credible than a paid ad. Look, sponsorships are great. You get a booth. You get some conferences. You have your logo everywhere, and that's great to get awareness for the industry. But nothing beats earned media, and so that's why PR is really important. And if you want to elevate your PR game, earning your place in a media publication goes a long way. Myth number 4. So ChatGPT is great. Don't get me wrong. It's took off this year, and everyone's kind of been using it. And our team leverages it for building the foundation. But I've also heard that teams say, okay, we can just use AI for PR marketing, and we kind of don't need any further help there. Yes, you do, because this is just an example. We just asked ChatGPT to write a caption that promotes ECC 6, and we know that you've got to have the right prompts and give the AI tool you're using the right prompts to get the right information, but it's not exactly fully accurate. They didn't even get the dates right. So I also think it's important to obviously we use it as a tool, but you have to make sure you're vetting it, and that requires time. And you got to make sure that the tone and the language that you want to get across is still there. So we don't want to, it's really important to use it as a tool, but we don't want to be too reliant on AI, because at the end of the day, we're still humans, and there's a way of thinking of things that technology can't beat. So that's just myth number 4. But who uses ChatGPT to help them with their work? That's great. It's a great tool to boost your, the productivity and what you put out, but you still need to vet what you do, and you still need to be aware of, what narratives are out there and, what people are talking about. And so that's why you do need, a strategic comms team to help you with that. And myth number 5, marketing and PR are the same thing. We've heard this before. People in the industry and some people we speak to, I guess there's still, even for us, even for our industry, we still need to educate people about it. We educate our clients about it when we start working with them. But no, they're not the same thing, because as I shared earlier, you can earn a story in press, and then marketing is social media channels where you put a tweet thread together. Put a blog post, and really the value of both is with marketing, you're able to, you're able to announce the things that might not make news. So a lot of projects are shipping things super fast, and if you're integrating, on a new chain, that warrants an announcement. But unless it's big enough and there's numbers and there's more elements to it, it might not make the cut or make news. And so it's good to have a blog post out there, a Twitter thread. But PR is another element where you just earn your place on a podcast or a feature story. So those are the 5 PR myths. And we are launching marketing services, Yap Global. So this is something that we've just built over the last 6 months. We took kind of the bear market to really complement the work we do as a PR firm. I think up until this point, Yap Global has mainly been PR, but now, we're just adding that element to help boost through content creation, social media content, and even helping teams with their social media, auditing their social media platforms to make sure that the messages that they're getting across is complementary. So just want to announce that. And also, if you head upstairs, you might see signs that says Yap Booth. So come say hi to our booth if you haven't, say hi to us at our booth if you haven't already. And here's just a recap of the 5 Web3 PR myths that we've busted. Any questions? Sure.
My name is Jan from Bark Finance. Thanks for myth 3. We have no money, so we are in no danger of paying for content or sponsoring an event.
Great.
But we are on mainnet, and we do have a comms plan, we have a blog, we did an event yesterday, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome. So
Engagement is low. What do we do to start off?
Yep, good question. Well, I mean, you can do that through content creation, marketing. First, just getting content out there. If you've got content out there, that you've got content. Okay. So I think a good way is to kind of keep up with the narrative. That's what we do a lot of the time as a PR firm, is like seeing where you fit in the trends. To give you an example, zero-knowledge tech has been around for years. We used to work with privacy coins, and everyone was talking about privacy in crypto. But it was only this year that we're starting to see, the ZK EVMs launching, like Polygon, ZK Sync Arrow Scroll, and then like other zero-knowledge roll-ups, launching like, so you're starting to see that take off now. And so you can see the narratives move along with the industry. So it's kind of understanding where everyone's headspace is at and what journalists are looking at, and then, staying relevant. I don't know if that helps, but yeah. That's what we do in the PR space when we're trying to get ahead of the narrative. But yeah, in terms of another way is that community building aspect, whether you can, run events, meetups, that helps as well. Cool.
So the industry is kind of rife with, crises, hacks, exploits, people going away with money, going AWOL. What advice do you have for projects on using social media during a crisis? Like how should projects sort of deal with that using social media?
Yep, good question. So I had earlier in the Web3 PR rules is to keep up with Twitter, because Twitter is the first place that people go to when they want to check out like a project's credibility and what, most live, up-to-date, updates from a project. So in the event of a crisis, a hack or exploit, timeliness matters and over-communication matters. So it's important to make sure you get ahead of the narrative. So even if you don't have all the pieces of information, even just putting a tweet out acknowledging that, you are aware that this is happening, and, and any kind of updates you want to share with your users. For example, if you want to warn users to stop using that protocol because there's like a leak somewhere, or a data leak somewhere, put that out there ASAP, and because teams and the industry and users want to know that you're there and you care about them. So yeah, timeliness matters, over communication matters, and then following up when you have more pieces of information with like a blog post, and a post-mortem when you have the whole picture. So yeah, that's just some advice on dealing with crisis comms, because there's been a lot of that over the last year and a bit. Sure. Oh, one more there. Cool. Hello.
It's Jing from South Finance. You talked about crisis management. Can you give an example of what is one that has actually been done well recently? Right, like example, there are a lot of hacks, there are a lot of stuff that actually happened. Can you give an example of something that was actually done well in terms of crisis management? Because we've definitely seen a lot that were not done very well.
Yeah. Okay, I can talk about an example that we had last year. So we work with Lido Finance, and when the Terra Luna depegging happened, people kind of mixed up the depegging of the stable coin with, because ST ETH and ETH, it was an exchange rate that started slipping, and then people started saying, ooh, ST ETH are like depegging, and that was like inaccurate. And so what we did was, well, one, there was a statement being issued on the Twitter account, and there were statements being put out, but we also started having conversations with journalists to correct the inaccuracy. And we managed to get, for example, Bloomberg out there explaining the nuances and differences. So kind of, in an event of a crisis when there's a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, getting ahead of the narrative, speaking up about it, again, over-communicating about it, using the media to educate people about it, because sometimes it also helps having a media publication say it. It carries more credibility than just the project or, the team. So that's just an example of how to really be proactive in a situation of a crisis. And yeah, I mean, hacks, for example, it's really unfortunate, but it's important not for the hack to not be the last story you hear from the project. If it's still standing, if it's still surviving, just keep going, keep communicating, what's being done to grow the protocol. Hope that helps. Cool. So just one more there, and then one here.
Hi, Samantha. I'm Ed. Just a quick question. Are there any tools or channels in Web 2 that you wish were in Web 3 that just aren't available yet, or you're waiting for to be built?
Tools or channels in Web 2? Well, I mean, Twitter has been used in Web 2, so that's there. Not really, but what I would say is, what we do a lot of the time is educate the more mainstream media. So it's not so much tools, but it's, so we care so much about this industry, but BBC and Reuters aren't talking about the layer 1 and layer 2s that are launching, because it's not that important to them at the moment. Also, there's more important things happening around the world. But we've seen, for example, over the last few years, it's been encouraging to see Bloomberg hire crypto reporters. They have a whole crypto team now. There's like a crypto reporter in every region. So that's been encouraging. What I would like to see is, Reuters, a few other financial publications up their crypto reporting, because it's a whole field. And I was talking about it earlier with the journalists, but crypto, so there's financial reporters and there's tech reporters, and they can cover their own different beats. But crypto is a combination of understanding finance and understanding tech. So it requires a whole different skill set and, ball game, basically.
Samantha, could you please give us an example, like really focusing on the last 6 months, because that's been very difficult time for projects. So new project, who just was preparing maybe for launch, building the community, building the power awareness, and how your agency could help them, this like success case, or success study.
Yeah, sure. The gentleman over there who said, okay, they don't have money for marketing. I just want to encourage teams. There's a lot you can do with your marketing and PR before you hire a PR agency, because it does cost money, Going to be real here. We are an agency. We do need to charge fees. So what I would recommend is, so an agency like ours, we would onboard a team just before they announce their Series A. So from seed to Series A is a stage where perhaps having a PR agency is the best way for growth. But before that, there's a lot of organic things you can do. Build up your Twitter, build up engagement and put content out. Build up your blog. These are things you can do without hiring anyone yet. Obviously, maybe you could have a content writer or a social media manager. And then I recommend, engaging an agency. And why an agency? Well, it actually helps supercharge that growth, because you could, it's chicken and egg, because I would say, okay, hire a marketing manager. But with an agency, you kind of have, we're a team of 24 people right now at the moment. And you have the collective kind of wisdom of the group, where we have the relationships with the media, so it kind of supercharges those connections that you can have, and the agency can help you build those relationships with journalists much quicker than if you were to build your networks yourself. So that's what I would recommend. And over the last 6 months, just to address kind of the market, because I understand events of last year, Terra, FTX, people lost money, and obviously PR and marketing was one of the first things people cut, which makes sense to preserve runway. However, just to remind everyone that communicating what you're doing, communicating that you're still around building things also goes a long way, because yeah, the longer that you stay in the industry, the more credible you are. And I think nowadays users and customers, they want to see the projects that they can trust and that are here for the long run. Yeah. I'm done. Okay, cool. I think time's up. But just quickly, who you can call Yap Global. Do subscribe to the context. This, we keep up with the industry, so if you want to scan QR code, we've got a newsletter that goes out every Thursday, and we have a podcast. But yeah, leave that up. And I think my time, oh wait, I do have 10 minutes, right? No, I'm up. Okay, cool. Well, I think I'm up. Thank you guys. Come visit us at the booth.